Hi, welcome to another Power Blast podcast. So, are you fed up with yourself for trying to make those healthy habits stick, like exercise, but you're just not into it? Too stressed, too tired, no time, no energy, totally bored? I've gotcha. It's time to break through your resistance to exercise. Stay tuned. Hey there, my friend. Perry Tinsley here, creator of the Power Blast podcast, the power of possibility, passion, and purpose. And I'm going to share my story with you and how I've worked through some things. Hopefully you can learn from my experience, because I was totally resisting exercise. I mean, I was out of shape, overwhelmed, overworked as a teacher. I was into technology, so I sat around. I had a home business. I had a dog rescue that I was running. And so add in some pizza, beer, Mountain Dew, burgers, you name it, chips, salsa, and I grew. So that might have happened to you, but I got to a tipping point where I realized that I was going in a direction I didn't want to go. I thought I could turn things around, and I just didn't. And year after year, things would keep building up, and I'd want to get into exercise, but then it would seem to take too long. And so when I finally did get a plan, and I'm really trying to avoid going down the diabetes and the heart disease highway that some of my relatives have been on, and even some of my friends. I got my first fitness plan, and I was immediately looking for when are the rest days in the calendar. And I had to catch myself eventually. I'm like, rest days for what? So I can chill out, overeat, be lazy, get fatter, have more bad habits? I'd already been doing that, right? I was always looking for a way out because, frankly, because exercise just seemed like it took too much work. It took too much time. The results often were slow, and many times exercise was just plain boring. I'd rather entertain myself doing something else. I didn't want to be sore. I liked being comfortable. But comfortable was making me fatter. Comfortable was making me slower. Comfortable was making me tired. Comfortable was making me bitter. So I really wasn't comfortable at all. I just made up a story that I was. And the pain of exercise every day and showing up and maybe even being bored, that was starting to overpower and outweigh the pain of being comfortable. I wasn't liking where I was at. And so I needed to draw the line. And I wanted to take my power back. I'm like, rest day. Rest day is over. What about the rest of your life? Time to step up. It's never too late. And that's why I always end this podcast, right? So every day I would work hard to fortify my mind and just handle whatever life was throwing at me. I had recently, at the time, I'd started getting into shape, and then I was throwing a big curveball. I lost my wife in a car crash. And so my world was totally spun upside down. So I worked on mindset. I worked on movement. I worked on mastery. I worked on 3 things that was definitely going to do that. And it was really, really hard to break through the stories and the beliefs that kept me stuck for so long. You may have some of those. You know those limiting beliefs, the thoughts that constantly dance around your head and in your brain that you tell yourself, and they prevent you from achieving your health goals. I'm a terrible cook. I'm always klutzy. I'm never on time. I'll always be heavy. I'm too lazy to stick to a plan. I always fail. Quick. If you could stop and write it down, cool. If not, just think about what's the top one that comes to mind in your head. Why? What is it that you come up with? And while you're thinking of that, why do we create these limiting beliefs anyway? The thing is, we create these narratives to pull together all the criticized parts of ourselves, the picked apart selves, all these different aspects of our lives that ring true for us. I love to laugh and be silly, and to get labeled as a class clown was kind of like, oh my gosh, that's a little badge of honor. And so I'd step up into that story. We do our best to step up and live out the beliefs. I'm not a morning person, So let me ask you, what did you come up with? Here's some that I come off the top of my head, but I'm lazy. I'm so klutzy. I'm so unorganized. I don't deserve it. I don't have any willpower. I'm not disciplined enough. I don't have the time. I always fail at everything. I never win. I'm so unlucky. I'm too old. I'm crazy busy. Don't we wear that crazy busy badge a lot? And here's another one. I'm not a morning person. And people will go, "Oh, I'm not. I definitely not." And they will fight. We will fight tooth and nail to make these stories ring true for us. And every one of them are made up. I mean, seriously, when was the last time you took a serious look at yourself and said, what are these stories costing me? Asking yourself. And we get into these stories have become habit for us. So when certain things happen, a lot of times we put up our little defensive resistance wall to things. So for instance, when it comes to exercise, and we say, get your exercise done in the morning, show up, do this. We want to come up with things immediately because we don't want to go into that painful world. Because it's too hard. We put up a resistance. We've just gotten in the habit of it. But these excuses and limiting beliefs, what are they costing you? I had to ask myself, what are they costing me? Because they are limiting you. So one way, and there's several ways to overcome these because they're stories, right? I love this activity by Tony Robbins, and I may have shared with you on another podcast in the past, but Tony Robbins just said, pick two of the top limiting beliefs and overcome them by asking yourself three questions. One, how is that belief totally ridiculous and absurd? You think about somebody else and it says it and you're like, oh gosh, that's a made up story. How is that ridiculous and absurd? And from whom did I learn this from? Are they worth it? And the other question is, what is this costing me? What do I have to pay emotionally, physically, in my relationships with my family, in my career, if I continue to think this way? Now, you start manipulating these and getting rid of these one by one, I guarantee you're going to open up a lot more time in your life. But what if you could change your beliefs? Your mind is a super powerful thing. It's one of the most powerful resources that you have. If you can believe it, you can achieve it. You can do it. So choose to end that old story, the excuses that you know are holding you back. You use an excuse, then you kind of hold on to it like, yeah, that's my excuse. I'm good with this. You just got comfortable with it like an old blanket that needs to just get thrown out in the trash. Choose a new story. See it. The thing is, I believe that if you put yourself first, especially with your health and fitness and your mindset, everything else falls into place. It's that big domino for your relationships, for your spiritual growth, for your career. Life is going to throw you constant curveballs. Are you going to just let it control you, or are you going to take control? We go through hard things. But these stories and these excuses and these things that are in our life, we make these barriers and obstacles way bigger than they really are. And you need to say to yourself, I'm in control. Actually, say that out loud. I am in control. Push yourself daily to do something that will grow you. Because I'm the master of my mind. And every day I show myself that I can do hard things. And here's a great quote by, I believe it's Bob Proctor. When your internal doesn't change, then your external doesn't stick. When your internal doesn't change, your external doesn't stick. How powerful is that? And I'm going to tell you what, you have proof that you can do hard things. Think of the blessings in your life, the things that you're grateful for. When you recognize those things, not just the obvious things like my family, my kids, stuff, the things around you, the things that are in your life that bring fulfillment to you, those blessings, those attract more blessings when you give them attention, when you appreciate them, when you fill yourself with joy and that feeling. And then think about the milestones that you've accomplished over the years. And really look back. Did you win some trophies? Did you win some awards? Did you get recognized for something? Did you win the spelling bee? Did you get certified in something? Did you help somebody? Did you subscribe to this podcast? And then think about the things that have been challenges in your life, things you've overcome. There might have been some really intense times. I know when I overcame my degenerative disc disease. I still deal with it, but I've figured out a way. Ulcerative colitis, the loss of my first wife, and that instant shock, and loss of other family members. And that's proof to you that you've achieved a lot and you can do hard things. You've made it through to this point. No matter how big or how small, you have done amazing things and overcome some big challenges. And you're so blessed. And you will be blessed even more when you get your mind and your body clicking on all cylinders. So break through your resistance to exercise. Catch yourself when you start to use those stories or the limiting beliefs. Think about those things that you call obstacles or barriers or you can't becauses. And really question yourself, are those really obstacles or barriers where you have no control over them at all? Or can you manipulate them and start chipping away at them one by one? No time? Too busy? Really? Doing what? Probably other people's agendas instead of your own. And if you really were serious about something, I think one thing I think about is, let's say you resist house cleaning and you're not into it. But all of a sudden, some really important people, maybe it's some family members or out of town relatives you haven't seen in a while, are going to pop over. You all of a sudden get into major cleaning mode and you power clean your house in record time. You can do it, and you can find the time and you can find the energy in an instant. All you got to do is do it. It's time to put yourself first. And if you want some more powerful strategies to overcome your resistance to exercise, then sign up for my free 5-day upside down workshop. I mean, seriously, give me 5 days and you're going to crack the code on burning the stubborn fat, building the lean muscle, having the endless energy, no matter what eating plan or fitness program or workout you choose. And it's perfect for somebody that always starts and stops exercise and comes up with limiting beliefs and stories of why they can't, or excuses, or feels guilty and frustrated and eventually just ignores your fitness year after year. Or maybe you feel bummed every time it's time to buy new clothing. Or maybe you're mad because the results never come fast enough and you just come up with excuses that there's no time, I fail at everything, I can't do this. Join me for the 5-day Upside Down Fit workshop. You can sign up for that at upsidedownfit.com. That's all I have for this week. Thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Please, if you found this valuable, share with people that can benefit, and subscribe in your podcast and get over there and leave an honest rating and review. That helps other people discover this show. And if you're over on YouTube catching the video version, I'm waving at you. Hey, be sure to subscribe and pound that notifications bell so that you get notified every time the next show shows up and gets uploaded. All right, you absolutely rock, my friend. That's all I have for this week. And as always, remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week.